This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up? No, it is another Tuesday. What day of the week is it? Tuesday? Hell, I just throw the mail now, so I don't remember what day of the week it is anymore. But we're back here for another episode of Knockouts and 3 Counts. And we've got the return of one of our very first guests on the show, way back when we started doing this stuff, back when we were still over with the boys over at Podcast Detroit. We've got our good friend, Miss Tara La Rosa, before she goes to war, Submission Underground. How you doing?
Great. How are you guys doing? Good to see you again.
Hey, freezing my balls off up here in Michigan, but that's nothing new. I mean, you're not lying. It's been a while. I mean, like we were talking about, I think the last time you and I saw each other was out at NXT a couple years ago when you were going there to check out old Shayna Baszler at Royal Oak. So it's been a hot minute. So I guess that's as good a place as any to start. And everybody that's joining the stream, make sure you hit the damn subscribe button. But that's as good a place to start as any. What the hell you been up to? Obviously, you're back to competing. What the hell's been going on since pandemic and all that?
Well, I've moved several times. I've lost 55 pounds.
Damn.
For 8 months, and I got back in the gym. Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good combo of stuff. But I mean, that's exactly what I want to talk about, because the last time you and I talked, you were talking about wanting to fight again or compete. You didn't know which way you were going to go, and then I look on Submission Underground because Chael tweets out, I'm going to bring Tara La Rosa back in. I'm like, son of a bitch. I didn't even know she was competing again. And I'm like, yo, I got to check this out. So I told Corey and had him go back and check out the first episode that we had done with you. So tell me about that. How the hell did you and Submission Underground come to be?
Okay, well, it's kind of a fun story. So like after I left, I didn't really leave MMA. It's a long fucking convoluted story. I sidetracked with life, and then like I got really tied up in politics and shit, and I was away from the gym. I got really, really heavy. I finally made my way back to the gym, and I kind of got done with all the crazy bullshit that I was doing. I lost a whole shitload of weight. I got back to my original gym where I had started competing like back in 2000, 2001, back in the gym, and I applied to the local grappling show of one of the guys that like trains at the gym, and he was like, yeah, we want to have you on the show. It'd be fucking awesome. I'm like, yeah, super cool. All right, good. So I applied to it, and then I guess he Googled my name and everything. It's like, well, you see, due to the visibility of your politics, I'm like, oh man, I understand. That's okay. I get it. So I happened to put that out there because I was just like, God, man, this fucking sucks. And Chael saw it. And I've been on, Chael's an old Bodog buddy. I mean, we've fought on several shows together, like, throughout the years, like, since, Christ, I think I've known him since, like, 2003 or 4, whatever. And so he reached out, and he was just like, yo, I got a spot for you. Come on over. I'm like, sweet, let's do this. So, I'm back.
I mean,
well,
I like it.
Chael being a very outspoken person himself, that's one thing I don't think he'll ever back away from, is having somebody with
and I'm controversial, apparently.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I mean, I would say, judging by Twitter, like I said before we go live, man. I mean, people either love you or they hate you. I feel like there's no middle ground because
No,
we had so many people retweeting it saying they wanted to see it, and then on the flip side, today you get the shit that we were getting earlier. I'm like, damn, this dude gives no fucks. Twitter fingers are heavy.
oh yeah,
But that's where your shit from. And those aren't the people that are going to spend money on your brand or on your show. They're just the people that want their way, and they're going to yell and scream and stamp their feet until they get it. So, I mean, do what you got to do, but, you know, they're not the ones that are going to pay your bills. Exactly.
Trolls, we know
Well,
all
J-Bone,
about that.
I know you were doing a lot of research for this, man. What you got for Miss LaRosa?
I just wanted, so I know you took the time off in between, and I know, you know, they say ring rust, octagon rust, it's all a thing.
Oh,
Did you notice, obviously besides the weight loss and the weight gain and whatever, did you notice any type of difference coming back into the training?
Oh my God. So I took like 6 years away, right? And sometime
a long time
throughout that 6 years, jiu-jitsu became all leg locks.
Oh my God, you're not lying.
Oh, like I wasn't going that long. And I'm telling you, everything is leg lock. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Okay. So like my entire game
Eddie Bravo happened, but
yeah, my entire game has completely changed now. I'm not going to say that I scrambled to learn leg locks because I know heel hooks and knee bars and toe holds and legs. I know all that shit. That's no problem. It's just that's the focus. Like that's like what people initially go after, and it's become a game within itself where instead of like to get to the ground you would have like a throw or a shot. Now people pull guard. Like that's the thing to do is to pull guard. Oh, so creatively pulling guard. No, you're still a pussy for pulling guard.
I love it.
But I spent 20 years learning judo and jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
I mean judo and wrestling, and now pulling guard.
Now everybody just wants to sit to their ass.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You're still a pussy. So go ahead and pull your guard, and I'm going to smash your ass. So be my guest.
I love it because it's funny. We were talking about before we hit live. I mean, for those of you guys who are newer to the show, if you guys haven't been around since the beginning, I mean, I remember when I first met Tara, I was trying to get ready for the last jiu-jitsu tournament that I competed in. And that's the funniest thing about it is even then, and that was what, 3-4 years ago. Yeah. And even then, like, I found out real quick, I had a guy outweigh me by like 15 pounds. I grabbed him by his gi, went to snap him down. As soon as I went to snap down, he immediately separated and sat to his ass. I'm like, man, you outweigh me by about 20 pounds and you are sitting to your ass because you don't want to grapple. Like, hot damn, you're not lying. I've always thought that. But I mean, that being said, I've always tried to be aggressive. So what I can't really say anything about that.
Wrestling. Michigan's a wrestling state. They're not pussies, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, man,
It's
speaking
really-
of Michigan and tough guys, man, you know, if you guys are new here, go check out our conversation from Thursday with Darren McCarty. He could tell you a few things about fighting with somebody on the ice and shit. That was, he was telling us all about his weed line, his CBD line, and now, do you know he's wrestling now?
No, that's crazy.
Hell yeah. This guy is getting cracked over the head with light tubes and all that shit.
Dude, that's what I always wanted to do. If I ever went into like pro wrestling, I wanted to do the crazy shit. Like
You're gonna do death matches?
And that's awesome. Like there was a promotion in Jersey. I mean, I don't know if it's still running or not. CZW.
We know all about them. They've kind of like gone down.
I loved it. I've been to like a couple of their shows like back in the day. And I think last time I went to, I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. But it was so awesome. Oh my God. It was so cool.
So it's funny you say that, right? So obviously Corey and J-Bone are newer faces to the show. Corey and I have known each other for a long time, but Corey was never the biggest wrestling guy. He was all MMA. So we just went in September the first wrestling show I ever took him. So you mentioned CZW, GCW is like the big one now as far as like the deathmatch stuff, and they're all guys that branched off from there, like Nick Gage and stuff like that were all in CZW, right? So the first big show I take him to, he goes to War Games, and they had a double cage, double ring, like light tube galore. Like that was his introduction to pro wrestling.
It was wild. Yeah, being my first actual wrestling match I've ever been to. Yeah, that shit was wild. That was like the next level of like.
That's the best. That's the best.
It wasn't just enough to break the light tubes. It was then you got to bring in the glass panes, and then it wasn't enough to just use the glass panes. It was you got to climb up the scaffolding and be 20 feet up in the air. When you jump onto the glass panes, it's like they just kept piling shit on top of shit.
So awesome. I love it. That's the best.
Yeah, he got like the crash course, dude, because not only that, then the next night when CM Punk come back, we're in the arena for that too, and he's like, this crowd's not really going to go loud. And what's the first thing you said when they all went ape shit, dude?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I know you were building up the anticipation for it for the what?
I mean, we were in Chicago. He's from Chicago.
That was big time, dude. You're very lucky.
And it was his first match in 7 years. So yeah, it was good times.
You could tell like the specialness in the air to a lot of the like hardcore wrestling fans on the night.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many people with like the hands taped up and shit, like CM Punk's got like X's on their hands. CM Punk, like it was just all over the map. You could see it like the fandom was just spread wide throughout that building that night. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
It was nuts. But that brings up a good question for you. So I know that you used to be a wrestling fan. I know you probably don't get to watch as much of it. I'd like to see, since you said that you'd always wanted to try wrestling, I want to know when we're going to see you in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. That would be dope.
Dude, I'm 43. I think it's too late.
I mean,
that's prime time. That's prime time.
You say that, but if Barnett's ass is still going with people, you got, and I'm trying to remember who else was on the female side on the last card. The reason I bring it up is it's essentially like, go ahead.
Marina Shafir?
She was just on this last one. I didn't get to see the last one. I was thinking of number 5, but yeah, she was just on the last one. And then, there's been so many, and Tom Lawler's all over those. Phil Baroni was on a couple of those. So it's a wide ragtag.
Like, of course, Barnett's been doing pro wrestling since like his inception.
Right.
Like, they've all got a major head start on me. Like I guess, I don't know if judo equates to it. I can fall really well in judo, but I mean, taking a bump is a little bit different than that. I mean,
that's why I said Bloodsport though, because Bloodsport, like I said, it's not like, I don't know how to put it. J-Bone, help me describe this one so I can do this accurately.
God, man.
It's as close to an MMA fight as you're going to get, basically. It's a lot of the same submissions.
MMA event that you're going to find, pretty much.
Yeah.
It really does blur the lines between the two.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
There you go.
It was just something that, like I said, when you get off here, I know you're a wrestling fan, so if you get time, check that stuff out, because I'm telling you, I feel like that'd be up your alley. But, speaking of pro wrestling, leading up to this show, there's been a lot of shit talking on Twitter, man. Your opponent for this next one sure seems to have a beef. So first of all, tell me how you're feeling about this matchup and what the hell happened?
Well, all right. So this time last year, there was all that crazy shit going on around the election and all the rallies and stuff in Washington, D.C., and I was doing a lot of that. Basically, I mean, I was just like working security for it. I mean, if you can even call it working, like whatever. And I guess somebody had some shit they wanted to say about it and about what they thought of my politics. And she thought that she was safe jumping on the bandwagon, dogpiling Tara La Rosa. Tara don't forget these things. And so 50 pounds, 60 pounds, and a year later, I'm back to fucking collect. and she wants to talk about she's living rent-free in my head for a year and this and that. Yeah, she was part of my motivation for coming back. She was part of my motivation for losing all that fucking weight. It ain't rent-free if I come to collect, and I'm here to collect back pay. So come and get it. She ain't the only one. There's more. I remember everybody that talked a bunch of shit. You want to fucking talk shit? You're gonna pay for it. What are you thinking? You think I forget? You think I'm gonna let that go? You're not gonna disrespect me like that. I'm not done. I'm just getting started.
I like it, man.
Hey,
See, this
you
is
say
why
there's no
you would be
future
perfect for this
in
shit.
professional wrestling for you.
See?
You got your foot in the door already. Clip that and show that. Clip that and show that to Josh Barnett. I guarantee you, you're gonna have some feedback.
We got 3 modes. We can go on the mats, we can go in the cage, or we can go in the fucking street. I don't give a shit.
There it is.
You want to fucking talk shit? You better be able to back it up. Because I know I can.
So, I mean, you seem like you're more than ready to go. So, how do you see this one going? I mean, like, are you trying to finish it quick? Do you want to, I mean, with it being grappling rules, of course. I mean, it's not a full-on MMA fight. I mean, how are you feeling about this one? Obviously, you've got you've got the motivation for this one. So, how do you see this one going?
Well, I'm always going to try and finish. I mean, it doesn't matter whether there's points or no points or mat or no mat. I'm always going to try and finish the first opportunity I get. I mean, my opponent is obviously skilled. Better be fucking skilled. If she ain't skilled, she's going to have a fucking really tough time. I don't go out there to play with or torment anybody. That's not my game. That's not my business. My business is to get in there, do my job, and get out. That's the idea. So if I can finish, I'm going to finish. If it has to go into EBI overtime, all right, that's fine. And we'll work the strategy from there. But, yeah, you can best believe I'm going to be trying to tap her. Of course. Absolutely. I don't play points.
I love to hear that because – go ahead.
I was going to say, how many of the Submission Underground events have you been able to watch up to this point? Just roughly.
None.
None.
What the entire show? I've watched individial matches. Like I've watched a lot of the women's matches because I wanted to see who's there. I wanted to see who's out there. That's the SUG was the biggest show. Mm-hmm. So when I got back into the gym, like all of my teammates are all over all of this. Oh, Gordon Ryan. Oh, who's the other kid? Craig Jones.
Yep, Craig Jones. You got Tom DeBlast.
All these people, and I'm just like, who the hell are they? Mm-hmm. And of course, it all came from Danaher's Death Squad and all that. And I'm just like, well, Jesus, I have a whole lot of homework to do. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. So I'm watching like a lot of highlight reels. I'm watching all these great guys and everything. I'm like, well, I mean, that's cool, but who am I competing against? Let's go see what the chicks look like. So, of course, I'm watching like all of the women's matches. I watched a lot of the women's matches with chicks that I would be matched up against because obviously that's of interest. I mean, I don't have all day to watch all these things.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then I watched a couple other things on other shows. I watched a few people from that Medusa show, I guess, that Eddie Bravo ran. That was cool. Plus, I had a friend on there anyway. So, like, I see all these chicks that they call good and everything. I'm just like, all right, well, let's see where I stand. So let's get after it. Get all of them.
Well,
give me chicks. That's what they did. MMA. You threw all the best chicks at me. I beat them. That's cool. Let's see if I can do it again.
Yeah.
Let's see where I'm at. I'm old. I'm rusty, and my game is a little bit outdated, but I'm catching up, and I'm back in the gym, and honestly, I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I honestly think it was because of the CrossFit. Whew, holy cow, man. I mean, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but I did 8 months of CrossFit, like hardcore. And I did.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with you saying that because I've done CrossFit. I got to train with Seth Rollins from WWE and Becky Lynch and Cesaro and all of them. I went for like 3 or 4 years straight. They did a thing WrestleMania weekend. Everybody's like, why the fuck are you working out? We're here on vacation. I was like, well, I don't know. That shit was pretty fun when I did it. And dude, it's like the most I feel like if more MMA fighters or even like just combat sports athletes as a whole did CrossFit, like the overall benefit that you get from it, I feel like it's like the most complete workout you're going to get, outside of like, when you're just lifting weights and stuff like that, it's not really helping you with athleticism and stuff like that. Where with CrossFit, I feel like there's so much explosion in a lot of the stuff you do. It helps with a lot of the movements you're going to do, helps you stay more flexible. CrossFit's the shit.
Now see, each gym will have their different
right
meanings. Like some are like weight heavy. Mine was cardio heavy. Like I love cardio. I've always loved cardio. So I used to do a lot of there was a guy at the CrossFit gym that I used to go to who had an endurance class. Oh my God, I loved it. So twice a week I would be doing the CrossFit endurance class, and then the other, how many days did I do? I would do five days a week, 6 days if I was bored. And so 2 of those days I would be doing like the endurance class. Oh my God, I loved it. And we'd be running like 5 miles with doing all of this other crazy incremental shit in between each mile, which was wild. I loved it. So it was a lot of fun. So I didn't do a lot of specialty cool shit like the muscle ups. Like I didn't do that. Just because
those are hard as shit to do. I thought it wouldn't be that hard, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
I'm good. I didn't get that far, but I got to do a lot of really cool shit. Whereas like I never really lifted before. Like I've always been like a body weight kind of person. Like I always did a lot of like sort of like gymnastica natural and shit like that. Pilates or whatever. But I really, really got into it, and for a hot second there, before I had really committed to coming back to MMA and grappling, I was going to try and compete in CrossFit. Like I wanted to do the Open, and just see where I was in the world, and I was just starting to kind of hit all of the weights that I needed to when I got the opportunity to move back to my gym, my original gym. So I was like, all right, well, I guess we're going to go back to MMA. So, hey, sweet. That's cool.
So with that being said, are you trying to pick up another MMA fight after you do this one?
Well, actually, I have a combat grappling match scheduled for February 5th.
Oh,
nice.
Really? Under EBI rules?
So I guess I'm kind of getting back into it slowly. So this will be my second pro jits. Do we say that? Pro jits?
Yeah. Pro jits. Yeah. If we didn't, we just did.
Calling it nowadays. Pro jits.
Right.
Okay. So this is my second pro jits match, and then in February I've got jits with hits.
I've wanted to try that so bad because we actually had a guy on the show recently who competed on the first one they did, that Fury grappling thing for CFFC that was on Fight Pass, and he was telling us about that.
I have such a ball with it in the gym. Oh my God. Like I love my team. I love my training partners. We talk so much shit. It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. Like I love it. Like I'm home. I am back home doing what I love where I belong. Like, yeah, okay, so I tried the real world for like 5 or 6 years, and then I don't fit. Like I don't fit. Yeah. I really don't. Like people don't know what to make of me. Like it's crazy because for like the people that I was sort of like hanging out with, or the people that I was sort of like a part of, I don't quite fit. I don't quite fit their narrative, to be honest. I'm not. They don't know what to make of me. I'm a little bit too hardcore. I don't know, something. I'm not femmy enough. You know, I'm.
You're a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's all right.
why do you like to fight? Like, what? I'm like, that's who I am. That's what I do. I'm a pro fighter. Like, didn't you know? Like, what the hell? You know, so there was some people that just really couldn't accept that. It's incredible. It's like amazing. And some of the kickback that I got from people that were even supposed to be on my side was just kind of really sad, to be perfectly honest, you know? But that's okay because I have a bigger voice than any of them. And I'm back to doing what I do. And I can get the message out better than any of them ever could because they're okay with being mediocre in life. And that's a shame. I'm not. So you can go have your mediocre life and go be a whole lot of nothing. And I'm just going to go be over here and be fucking awesome.
I mean, that's a hell of an attitude to have. I mean, that's a good way to crush life. With that being said, you know, with you being away from MMA so long, you know, now that you're kind of dipping your toes back in the water with all that stuff, what are your thoughts on what we see right now in the female scene right now? Because there's a lot of talk about, is the UFC going to drop the 145 division? And then, you know, Nunez is essentially running the other two divisions in the UFC. So, you know, what are your thoughts on women's MMA as a whole? Do you think the UFC is the spot where it's at now, or do you think like other promotions like Bellator and stuff like that are where it's at? Because it seems like there's a hell of a big change since you've been gone from MMA.
The UFC is always going to be the top dog. They're always going to. I think they're always going to have the top competition. Would I love to see what like all the other girls from other promotions could do against UFC fighters? Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, I kind of love it when the girls who are like sort of done with UFC go to the other promotions. I love to see them like they mop the floor with people. I mean, they are dominant. You know, I mean, I love it. Like it's terrific. I don't know. UFC will always be the place that people strive for. So I feel like the women and the men in the UFC are the ones that set the bar.
I mean, that's definitely fair. It's the same conversation we hear in wrestling all the time. Now that AEW's popped up, you know, WWE is always going to be number one. You see the same thing with MMA as you're seeing in wrestling. But now MMA's got, you know, PFL. You've got, you know, there's more places to go than there used to be too, which I think is good.
And those are amazing opportunities. I'm not knocking Bellator.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying it's cool because there's actual other spots now. You know what I mean? Because before it was basically UFC or bust.
Yeah, there's a place for everyone. There really is. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And that was my dream. Like my dream with MMA was to hear people talk objectively about women, like about the sport. Like I wanted to hear conversations like, oh, I don't know, her stand-up is better than her wrestling, and I really think her jits is going to be better than her wrestling, and she's going to beat this chick because she has judo. And like I want to hear people, like that was my dream, was to hear people like talk about the women's fights as if they were picking down the men's fights, like the same way, like skill versus skill, not who's hotter, you know, or whose boobs were the biggest. Like, you know, that's completely like, who cares? I mean, that's cool if they're trying to get sponsorships, great. But we're trying to punch each other in the face. We're trying to see who is number one in the world, in the universe. Okay, like your boobs have nothing to do with that. Like your ass has nothing to do with that. Like, cool. Yeah. You know, I mean, maybe if you do a whole lot more squats, your kicks are going to be better. But I'm serious. Like, and I feel like we've achieved that. Like, people are so taken with Valentina Shevchenko and Joanna Zerdachik and Amanda Nunez and how Kayla Harrison is advancing through the sport. And like all these people, and I love to hear it. Like I love to hear people say, yo, do you think her jits is good enough to overtake her stand-up? Like, so on and so forth. I love it. Like, that was my dream. Like, when I started hearing people, like, talk like that, I was like, that's awesome. Like, I can, like, I can get on, I can walk off into the sunset. Like, my job is done. Like, at one point, a long time ago, I raised the bar. And people looked at me as the one to beat. And you know what? They did. They did. They fucking persevered and they trained harder. And they got more scientific. And they cut weight better. And they were better cross-training. And they did. They got better. And they blew me away. That's what I want. That's what you always want. You always want it to get better. Who else? Like Fedor. Fedor was the greatest. And people became better than him. Lyoto Machida. George St. Pierre. All of these greatest people. Yes, they were the greatest at their time. And they raised the bar. Like, guys coming up looked at them. Girls coming up looked at them. It was like, I can do that better. I can be better. I can have better skill. I can have a better skill set. And that's what happened. And that just made the entire sport get better and grow. And that's why we have the opportunities that we have now. And it's amazing. It's so cool. It's so exciting to watch. I love it.
I mean, just like when you talk about such a traditional sport in boxing and stuff, and you compare that to MMA on the women's side, like the women's MMA side seems to get so much more respect and viewership and so on and so forth comparing to the boxing. And it's really astonishing, kind of to your point, like women's MMA has done such an amazing job of really building its own fanfareship, or however you'd want to word that there is genuine interest. Like every single time that there's I'll pull prelim fights out to break them down on our show roughly every week to, and you talk about headliners being women, like it's just, it really has, the game has definitely evolved in that so much. It's not even like are they women fighting now? It's like, how's the matchup play out, to your point? And it really is. It's awesome to see, for sure.
Even headlining main events, man. It's huge now.
I love it. I love hearing it. Like it's awesome to me, And just the fact that I could have been part of that history is like, that's good enough for me. Like what I'm doing now, I'm having fun. Like I'm having a great time. I used to be like so super serious. I was such a purist and so like, I never talk shit. You never heard me talk shit on an opponent ever. Like I never did that. But now I'm just like, I can have a little fun with it, Like I don't mind. I don't give a shit. Like I already made my mark. Like I'm good. Like everything here is like icing on the cake. Like I'm having a grand old time. And it's so awesome to be back.
Well, speaking of icing on the cake and things like that, I mean, who better to ask than you, because you guys have fought a few times. What are your thoughts on Roxanne Modafferi getting ready to call it a career?
She broke my heart. Oh, she broke my heart. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Like she called me up and she told me, and I just like almost cried. Like she's the last of us. She was the last of us. All of my friends are gone. They've all retired. Everybody. Shayna Baszler, Rosie Sexton. God, who else? Jesus. There's a lot of people that are getting ready to retire and shit. But like, yeah, a lot of my friends they've already gone, retired. Here I am coming back. So like when I heard that Rox was retiring, I just kind of broke my heart. It killed me. It killed me the first time when Fedor retired, because that was my idol. That was my hero. And then when like Jens Pulver retired, like that was my hero. Like all these guys, and Aaron Riley, and like just these were all the people that I looked up to. And then like friends like Rosie Sexton. God, when they retired, I was just like, fuck. Oh, what am I doing? Like I don't want to become like this sounds terrible. I don't want to become the Ken Shamrock of women.
Damn.
Oh no.
Well,
Oh, Ken.
watching many interviews from Roxanne Modafferi, because I'm a big fan of hers. I actually was making sure to bring that up in the notes and stuff. Huge fan. That's the first thing when I started to do research on your career was that popped up, that your guys' trio of fights, and I was like, that's awesome. That's a perfect, with her being her send-off fight. I know it means so much, I'm sure, to have spent that much time and, like you say, see the evolution of women's MMA and have somebody that you call like a friend / enemy at a time and stuff, and see them do as well as it.
Forever. We've been close for a long time. Like, I've known Roxanne since 2002, 2003. We ran Naga. Back in the day, we ran Naga. Like, she would never cut weight. So she would do the higher weight class, and I would always cut weight. And I would do the lower weight class, and I won all of them. Like, I would always win. If I showed up to a Naga, I always won. Dude, I even won men's divisions. And when Roxanne showed up, she would win all of them. You know, when Roxanne showed up, she was going to win the division. And she did. Like, we ran that shit back in the day. It was fucking awesome. Like, I think I've won, like either 14 or 16, like, Naga advanced divisions, including men's divisions. You can about that because he roughed it. But, yeah, we've known each other for a long time. And, she's always been a close friend, and I've always been a big fan of hers. So, like, yeah.
Kind of hard not to be, but
the reason why I brought up the interviews and such that she does is she's talked about dealing with like a little bit of head issues and stuff, and that's why she doesn't want to get punched anymore. But she said she's still very much willing to compete in like the submission undergrounds and stuff like that. Would you be willing to meet her again, but under the submission underground banner?
That would be fun. We'll see how it goes. I got big fish to fry.
I like it, man. I'm not such a fish fry guy myself, but I mean, watching somebody fry their bigger fish. Hey, bro, I like shrimp's okay, but see, I've never been like the big fish guy. I don't know if it's like the smell of it or what it is, but I was never a big fish guy. But you mentioned Kayla Harrison. There's all the talk about her and where she's gonna go, and is it gonna be the UFC and all that stuff. So I guess my question, first of all, what are your thoughts on her with, her judo background and all that stuff? And, with the body of work she's put together in the PFL, where do you think you see her lining up next?
I'm a fan of her judo. I'm not necessarily a fan of her. Like, I did not like her attitude when she came into the sport. And I didn't like her attitude before the sport, toward the sport. So, I mean, I'm out there with telling you, I'll tell you how I fucking feel about some shit. I wasn't her biggest fan. But coming from judo, that's just like, that's my shit. I mean, look at two of the, all right, I'm not being cocky. I'm not trying to be cocky. But who are two of the most dominant women in the sport? Me and Ronda Rousey. Okay? I was number one for 6 years. Ronda was a number one for a long time, and she was dominant as fuck. Why? We both came from judo. So there's a lot to be said about that. And look at some of the guys that came from judo. There weren't many, but they had a dominance to them, like when they fought. It's a thing. And with the women, it's undeniable. It took her, I think it's taken her a minute to kind of, get her foot in the sport. She's doing well. That's awesome. I'm ready to see her go against some UFC chicks. I think that she can handle Chris Cyborg or Amanda Nunes? No. But I would like to see where she's at. Like, I really hope she either goes to Bellator or UFC. I really do. I want to see what she can do with some of the established chicks, that were there before her.
So that sounds like a lot because it's funny. And for any of you guys that don't follow our social media, you know, I was just listening to him on his show, but Jimmy Smith from Unlocking the Cage on Sirius XM will be joining us this Thursday. But he was talking about that on his show today because he was there at the last Bellator fight and they basically had her there, whether it was for whatever. And all anyone wanted to talk about is what would happen in a fight with her and Cyborg, the same as I was listening today and she goes, oh, I got some fights I got to go to next weekend. So one can only assume that those fights that we're talking about are the UFC. So I think the only way this can go is either going to be Bellator or the UFC. I think what it comes down to is if you listen to everything Dana said about when people have brought up, you know, do you want to bring Kayla Harris into the UFC? You know, he's kind of scoffed at it. So I feel like what this is going to end up coming down to is whoever makes her the bigger money offer at this point. I feel like that's how it's going to be because on Bellator, like you said, she's got the fight with, you know, Cyborg there. And, you know, if she goes to UFC, it won't be long before people are clamoring for her and Amanda to fight. So I feel like it's got to be one or the other because, I mean, she's already basically done everything she can in PFL. And what's she going to do? Win another tournament, win another $1 million, which that's cool. But if you really want the competition, like you say, I feel like those are the only two options for her to go to.
I agree. And what happens with the guys that are free agents or the guys that are coming out of another organization at the top? Dana talks shit on them. And what happens next? Dana brings them into the UFC. So is that an omen? Is that like a little insight in what's to come? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to hold you up. The way she was talking today, that's kind of the vibe I got. Once she said the whole, you know, I got fights I got to go to next weekend, when just a couple weeks ago, Dana was trying to say some bullshit that he wasn't really interested. The fuck he's not interested.
Yeah, how can you not be?
He's not interested. Because, I mean, let's be honest.
That's Dana. That's how he.
Right. And I mean, realistically, if you don't start bringing some new women in, who the fuck else is there going to be for Amanda to fight soon?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, they're not going to have a choice. Either they're going to have somebody else that just keep feeding her whoever's there, or you're going to have to bring somebody in. That's why, for me, it's got to be Bellator, and it's either got to be Bellator or UFC. Now, here's the question. So you said you think that she can't match up with Cyborg and Nunez, but I don't know. Out of the two of them, I feel like Cyborg would be the more winnable fight for her, I feel like. And I say that for the standpoint of, I feel like if she tried, with Nunez, I just feel like Nunez is going to toss her around even if they try to go full grappling. I feel like Cyborg, she's got a better chance if she can get her to the ground. That's just me. But
oh boy, I don't know. No,
I saw the look you were giving.
No.
I feel as though both are a very tough fight. I know when
it's both going to be tough fights. I'm just saying out of the two.
When the PFL season wrapped, I had made the point that if I was her manager, what I would love to see for the direction of her career is go to Bellator initially, make some money through Bellator. You've already done well through PFL, so you're sitting pretty money-wise, I would imagine. Go to Bellator, get one fight there, then fight Cyborg, win their belt. That way Dana he really can't talk shit if she's able to win that fight against Cyborg, which is very much an arguably incredibly uphill battle for her.
Dana can talk
but
shit
with the
or what? It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, what you win, how much money you have. Dana will talk shit on you. We've seen this before. Like,
yep.
That man can promote like no other. He is the master. He is the master of promotion. Never doubt that.
You can't argue it. I mean, there's a reason they are where they are. And I mean, you mentioned him talking shit about people coming in. We talked about Ronda Rousey. I mean, hell, before she exploded, I mean, for how long was he saying there will never even be women in MMA, or not women in MMA, but women's MMA in the UFC? So, I mean, like I said, you hit the nail on the head with that one. But that brings up as good a question as any. You know, you mentioned Shayna Baszler and you mentioned your fights with her. So, like I said, the last time you and I ran into each other was at NXT. So, over pandemic or any of that, have you been able to keep up with any of the wrestling, or do you ever have you been popping anything on or seen any of what Shayna's been doing?
No, I only get to see like highlights and like clips that are like on like Twitter
YouTube
or
and stuff.
what.
Yeah.
I never get to see anything. It sucks. And honestly, I feel so bad. Like I don't know where to look for it either.
Well, now she's on Fox. She's on SmackDown now.
Okay, I was keeping up with it for a little while, but I somewhere around shit got crazy around 2019, 2020, and 2021. Last 3 years have been fucking nuts. Like seriously, like nuts. Like I have not watched the only thing I've watched on TV is like Yellowstone. That's it. Like that's all I watched. Like I haven't gotten to watch. Like I see these things here and there, and like I'll shoot her a text. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like what happened? Like, yup. I'm like, all right, cool.
I'm so glad they finally moved her over to SmackDown, man, because what they were doing with her on Raw was just driving me insane at this point. So it's cool to see her finally getting back to being the badass that we all know her to, because I feel like Shayna's not somebody for a tag team.
No, what's crazy shit where like there was some girl that was possessed or some bullshit? Like
yeah, Alexa Bliss was possessed. And then it's funny you bring that match up. It's funny you bring that match up because my first thought of the whole thing, and it's funny because with Jimmy being the commentator over there now, I remember watching that and I'm like, come on, dude. Like, there's no way she just gets out of a rear naked choke from Shayna Baszler like that. The way she just slipped out, I'm like, those are the ones that even as a wrestling fan who is willing to suspend my disbelief, son of a bitch, dude. I've been trained in jiu-jitsu now for a long time my damn self, and I'm nowhere near on the level of a Shayna Baszler, and I can tell you that if somebody's getting you that dead nuts in a rear naked choke, there's no way in hell that you're getting out like that.
Like she might have like hypnotized her backstage or some shit. I don't know, maybe kind of crazy spell.
Yeah.
Voodoo. I don't know. There's some crazy shit goes on.
I mean, she did have her doll with her. I mean, shit, you could. I mean, yeah. I mean, you might not be too far off the rocker on that one.
I mean, all right. So we can liken this to this harkens back in the day to a match. There's an MMA fight between Gina Carano and Tanya Evinger. Where
I remember that fight.
Yeah, there is no reason on God's green earth that Gina should have won that. Tanya should have killed her all day, every day, in every aspect and every way, and somehow Gina tapped Tanya? Get the fuck out of here. I have no idea how that happened. That was some crazy wazoo bullshit that was just like some weird, honest to God, like voodoo, fate, weird universe, alternate universe bullshit. Same thing with this Alexa Bliss person and shit. Yeah. Weird alternate universe bullshit. It's just freak thing, whatever. We all know Shayna's the best. We all know Shayna's the best.
She is. Remember in the Elimination Chamber, Kyle? She put out all 5 competitors, dude. Legit badass.
Tara can tell you this as good as anybody. I've been singing Shayna's praises since the day they brought her ass into NXT. I was there
with this bitch. I know her. And
that's why I said
there is nobody on this earth that has okay, let's just pick one move. Let's pick one move. The Twister. I don't know what the fuck she calls it now. She has 50 fucking words for it. This woman has 50 setups for a Twister. She has so much. It's her level of creativity for submissions and setups and defense and offense is insane. Like you could put every woman in the WWE universe and every other universe together and they still don't have the talent that Shayna has. Like, I'm serious.
I have no arguments with it, man. That's why I'm so glad they finally put her over to SmackDown, because when she was in NXT, she was killing shit. Then they brought her to the main roster. They put her with Nia Jax, and they were the tag team and all that shit. And I said from jump, I'm like, how did we go from Shayna going straight fucking vampire and biting Becky Lynch and shit to now I mean,
I forgot about that, dude.
what the fuck else you gonna call that? I've never seen her go to bite anybody before, and then it looked like she like got high and watched Twilight, and then went out there to go jump Becky Lynch.
She went Tyson. She was channeling her inner Mike Tyson. Like
There you go. That works too. Twilight, Mike Tyson. Who knows? Maybe Mike Tyson's looking for the next role in Twilight or some shit. Who knows, man? But I'm so glad to see her back on SmackDown because I feel like, dude, like you just said, everything you just said, she would be. Could you imagine if they ever like fully let her go and had like Shayna versus like Charlotte Flair, who's the champ on SmackDown?
Carnage,
Dude.
Fucking carnage.
It would be fucking awesome.
Damage. Oh my god. Oh my god.
She'd wipe out that whole division, dude.
Oh my god. All at one time.
Dude, that's why I'm saying though, but at least then Charlotte and these big names like her and Becky or whoever you want to mention, at least if you rebuilt Shayna like she was in NXT before they turned it into what it is now, I mean, dude, she'd be the perfect heel to fight all of them.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows she can legitimately fuck them up. And then all she's got to do is piss off. It don't take a whole lot to piss off the crowd when you beat them all up like that. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm telling you, we'll see what happens with her and SmackDown. But the other thing I wanted to ask you about before we let you get out of here is, like I said, you're getting ready to go back in with Submission Underground and all those things. Is there any sense of first of all, how do you feel about your first match now that you've been out of it a little bit? And secondly, do you feel like, being gone for that long, did it give you any extra pressure, to come back, this long later?
I always put pressure on myself. I mean, that's always the thing. I was killing it. I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. I was on a tear in the gym. I mean, I felt great. I was doing well. I did everything I wanted to do. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I followed my game plan like exactly to a T. With that, the first match with SUG, I got the takedown right to side, went to side, and I was really hunting for an arm triangle. This way, that way, upside down, inside out. Like, I just couldn't quite make it land. But I dominated the regulation period. And then we went into the EBI thing, which is new to me. I mean, defending an armbar and defending the rear naked that's easy. We learn that in when you're a white belt. But it's like, it's a focus now. It's got like a different skill set. And it's got its own game wrapped around it. So while we had been doing that stuff in the gym, it just wasn't like as much of a focus as it is. Like, I was just doing like regular shit. Like I said, I was playing a lot of catch up on like locks and all the other shit and this and that. All these 50,000 guards, De La Riva guard, reverse De La Riva guard, X guard, K guard, Z guard, oh my fucking God guard, Jesus Christ guard. Like, there's 50,000 guards now, and I'm like, what, dude? These were just like movements. Like, this is all shit that I did. Now it has a name. Okay, people were just looking to get famous off making a name. Okay, cool. So they named shit. Great. So I was doing a lot of catch up with that stuff. And I didn't really like focus on this EBI thing. But now, when I get back in there again, I will have had 6 weeks to play with this whole EBI thing and kind of work out the details. Like, if you watch my match, if you watch, like, when we went to EBI rounds and the ref, I guess she won the coin toss, and he looked at me, he said, well, what do you want to do first? I'm like, what? Like, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was like, okay, I always want to defer. Okay, well, she got the opportunity to defer, so I was like, oh shit, he's asking me questions, and I don't have my answers. I don't know what to do. And I didn't have a coach with me or anything because it's just grappling. And nobody could come out with me anyway. It was like Halloween weekend, so everybody has kids and shit. So, and I was like, Should I poll the audience? Like, can I phone a friend? Like, so like this time, like I have a much better plan of what to do. And I think I have a pretty good game plan, and we'll see. But the object of the game is to not go to EBI rounds. It's to get the submission, right?
I mean,
That's
I like
actually-
it. Finish that shit
That's
quick.
actually why I posed the question about whether or not you were super familiar with the Submission Underground rules earlier, is because a lot of times those matches end up going to their overtime rounds because people kind of play around a little bit so that they can try to get put into the advantageous positions that overtime gives them.
I know,
So-
it's easy. Like, fuck that. I wanna finish it in the regulation round. Like I'm a submission hunter. Like that's what I do. Like even in MMA, like I'd rather submit you. I mean, if I could beat you into submission, then I would. But a lot of times I don't really have to do that. Like I would just get you. That's what I want to do. I just want to get you. Like I want to tap you. Tapping is dominance, and dominance means a kill. And in the real world, you kill to survive. So it's survival. And that means I win. And I go home. And you don't. So
I always heard Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan always describes jiu-jitsu like that. He's like, people forget, like when you get choked out in a match or you break your arm in a match, it's like if that were a real fight, you're
done.
fucked.
It's
Because I mean, there is no the bell rang or I can hide my arm a little bit. I mean, I've always liked that philosophy of it because I mean, even I only fought a few times boxing, and I've done I don't know how many jiu-jitsu tournaments, but I don't even count those the same. But like, you're not lying. Like, especially who I train with. That was the number one thing from the day I started. It was like, fuck all that. Like, let's just pitter patter around. I've never understood that way of doing things, and I think that's going to be one of the big things that makes your match at Submission Underground going to be dope. So for anybody that's new to Submission Underground and is going to be checking it out, let them know what they can expect at Submission Underground 29.
Well, I'm bringing the fire. I'll tell you that. And this chick had a lot to say. She wanted to call me out. Originally telling me back a year ago, she wanted to tell me, oh, well, I'm heavier. She can catch these hands. You know what? She's fucking lucky I didn't call up Masvidal and have it done on his show. Yeah, she does.
I mean, hell yeah, run it back at Game Bread.
Yeah.
She's lucky. She's lucky because I didn't realize that I thought that she was like just as like had as many like matches and shit as I did, but I guess not. I don't know. We'll see. She's still a purple belt, same as me. We're both purple belts. But
that makes three of us, except you'd kick my ass. We already have we've already established that when you were trying to help me get ready for that shit.
I'm bigger than you, that's all.
Well, fuck, that ain't the first time I've heard that in the gym.
I got a question for you in regards to this coming up fight. So after the fight's over, after it's all said and done, is it water under the bridge for you, considering the shit on Twitter and the shit talking that she done?
Yes.
Or is this something you're gonna keep at heart, or maybe challenge her into a different kind of fight afterwards, or is this water under the bridge for you?
Water under the bridge for me. Like, just the moral of the story is, don't run your mouth, don't talk shit, and not expect to have to pay up. This is the day and age where everybody hides behind a computer screen and behind a Twitter name, and they never have to look the person in the eye who they talk a bunch of shit to. Too many people get away with this. Too many people run their mouths and they talk a bunch of shit and they don't have to back it the fuck up. Well, not with me. And not with people who I call my peers. Don't be disrespectful. Don't run your fucking mouth. You never know who the hell is behind that computer screen. Just so happened that I am. And I keep score. So, I'm not the only one out there like that. Just, just treat others the way you want to be treated. Be respectful. Have respect. You know, you saw that I was a blue check. You saw that I was a blue name. I have it for a reason. You know, don't fucking talk shit. You know who I am. You know what I do. Don't do that. And that goes for other people too. Unless you want to back it the fuck up, unless you want to get in that fucking cage, unless you want to put your fucking, you know, your money where your mouth is, don't fucking talk shit. You know?
I mean, I think that's as good a way to cap it. She just said no cap, man. Don't talk shit. You're going to get hit. Make sure you check out Submission Underground 29, man. I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Fuck around and
find out.
Fuck around and find out. That's why you got to fuck around and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss us with the new Mr. Monday Night, Jimmy Smith, this Thursday. So until next time and in the in-between time, we appreciate all you guys in the stream. And until next time, make sure you're checking out Submission Underground. Peace.